Doherty. This is for my commemorative speech. I have my mom, Matt, and my boyfriend Chris recording it. And here it is. $146,000 people die every day. 146,000 cousins, aunts, nieces, and grandmothers. 146,000. To many of you, this number has little to no meaning. To me, I understand how the families of the other 145,999 people feel. My dad passed away a short 6 months ago. To say that my dad and I had a deficient relationship would be putting it nicely. Although I had not spoken to him 2 years prior to his passing, I'd still like to pay tribute to the person that he was. My dad loved to read. He loved to read so much that he would not stop reading until he fell asleep with the book in his hand. He always told me that by reading books, you were always learning and expanding your vocabulary. I used to humor him and try to read a book here and there, which eventually turned into reading a magazine article, and then eventually turned into me not reading anything at all. In the past 6 months, I have read 6 books and counting. I can only hope that this still makes him happy. My dad treated my friends as if they were his own children. When I was younger, he would always let me have my friends sleep over, no matter how loud or obnoxious we were. My friends would call my house their second home and call my dad their second dad. Back then, I thought nothing of it. Yeah, I used to think to myself, my dad's cool and lets us stay up late and gives my friends advice when they need it. Isn't that what all dads do? In the past 6 months, I reconnected with all of my old friends from my childhood, laughing and joking about stories from the past. I can only hope that one day I can offer a second home to those who need it, as my dad did for my best friends. My dad was always over my shoulder. Growing up, I cannot remember a time that I went out and didn't have to call to check in or give him the address of the house that I would be. This made my teenage adventures very limited. To this day, I have never broken a bone, never smoked a cigarette, never experimented with any type of drug, and never been in any sort of trouble with the law. In the past 6 months, I have realized how many classmates of mine have gone down the wrong path because of drugs and violence. I can only hope that my dad is still looking over my shoulder, smiling all the way. My dad was stubborn. Not your average run-of-the-mill stubborn. He was more of your make you want to do anything to end an argument stubborn. When I would spend hours fighting with my dad over trivial disagreements, I didn't realize the lesson I was learning. Hold your own and fight for what you believe in. In the past 6 months, I've been through more than most people my age can imagine. I can only hope to be as stubborn and strong-willed as my father was. My father, who was once a man full of pride, would not have wanted to go out the way that he did. As I walked into the intensive care unit of the hospital, I was not prepared for what I was about to see. I saw my father, with tubes down every orifice of his body. My father, lifelessly lying there, waiting for his time to come. This was not the man that I had known for 18 years of my life, and I refused to remember him that way. In the past 6 months, I've come to terms with the fact that my dad will never know if I showed up to the hospital that day. I can only hope that some way, somehow, I can make him proud of the person that I have become. So you see, Mrs. Doherty, I know you should never choose a topic that you can't control your emotions over. But these last 5 minutes are just another way of me striving to make my dad proud of the person that I have become. This speech is not only to commemorate my father, but also to remind everyone that time stops for no one, and to appreciate your loved ones. Because the argument that you have today is not worth the life of regret you might have tomorrow. Thank you.